Welcome to 360 TV. I'm your host, Adonis Lockett. And as always, I got my trusty co-host, Mr. I wear suits on Tuesday because I'm flyer than you, Darion Coleman.
What's up, everybody? What's up?
And our guest tonight, rock star, Queen Johnson, investor, plumber, overall investor extraordinaire. So she's going to be joining us tonight. Welcome to 360 TV. Queen, you and I was not like overly flattering you. You are very inspirational. You're exceptional. You are one of a kind, and your name speaks to exactly what you are, a queen.
Yeah.
So, Queen, just give us the background. Tell us about you. Tell us about you as an investor. Tell us about your trade. Like, tell the world about you.
Yes. Well, I was married to Prince Hakeem and Zamunda.
Sounds about
Shout out
right.
to Coming to America,
Yeah,
too.
I know. I can't wait. No, I'm just playing. Born and raised in Dallas.
Okay.
For sure. My mother was a single mother, so we went through the struggle, as you could say, and decided to get into plumbing right out of high school. I prayed about it, which
Okay.
was interesting. And my dad was like, "Hey, I ain't got to pay for it." Cool, I'm all for it. My mom said, "Really?" But then she looked at how much they got paid. She's like, "You're going to be getting paid more than me in like 3 years." And
Right.
so she was on board and decided to do plumbing. And then a little into plumbing, I'm like, am I going to be doing this for the rest of my life, working for somebody else? And my best friend said, "Hey, read this book." And that's how I got into real estate investing. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask the question that everybody wants to know?
Okay.
What made you want to be a plumber?
I was on my way because
Because I want to know.
Okay. Everybody asked me a question. It was not something that I dreamed about. Let me just say that. So it wasn't something I grew up with. It was either between being a pharmacist tech, and going to Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm just setting up the spectrum for you. Go ahead.
I know. And again, like I said, I prayed about it.
Okay, and plumber over
So I
here.
prayed about it.
Okay.
And our Bible study was about, hey, not necessarily seeking higher education like college and things like that, but, you know, secular education, so vocational schools and things like that. And I was like, well, what's a vocational school? And I looked into that and prayed about it. And then the recruiter for the plumbing union actually came to my school and said, hey, all of the plumbers are about to retire in the next 10 years.
Okay.
Plumbing is going to be a big thing, and it's going to be needed, and we need plumbers. And
Okay.
I said, well, do you have to go to school for it? And they said, yeah. But, you know, it's on you. You earn while you learn.
Okay.
And I was like, I prayed about that, and I said, well, let me take the test. I took the test to go in. They called me the day I graduated, and I had a job ever since.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
How long you been a plumber?
14 years this year. I know.
Wow.
14.
I'm getting old,
She
yeah.
barely old enough to even graduate.
All right.
School.
And
I knew she was gonna be like, I'm 4 years in the game
Yeah,
or something like it.
14.
Right.
14 years.
All right.
yeah.
So how long were you a plumber before you decided to become an investor?
That's a good question. 8 years in.
8 years in.
So
how long have you been an investor now? So you've been an investor for those who are
Going
not
on, yeah.
mathematically inclined.
I'm going on 6 years.
6 years. All right. So you were a plumber, 8 years in the game. You're like, I want to be an investor. Why?
I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read that book, and I said, I didn't know you could do other things. Because actually, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I basically said, hey, let's go into business together. You know, you have your master's license. By this time, I had my master's.
I'm sorry. What does that mean exactly before you keep going?
A master plumber can have their own business, or they can be in with a company as a responsible master plumber to pull the permits and things like that.
So you are a master plumber today.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've been it for about 8 years.
Wow.
I just never did anything with it until recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those who are watching, being a master plumber is actually a very big deal. Think of it as the equivalent of being a broker for a real estate brokerage. So is that a fair comparison?
That's a good comparison, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Okay.
So you decided that from being a plumber, you're going to be an investor. Now, I imagine that you being a plumber kind of gave you a leg up or kind of springboarded you into the business. The learning curve wasn't as aggressive as most new investors. Is that a fair statement?
From a bidding standpoint, like as far as, you know, what the rehab may cost, yes, like understanding, because the company I work for, we were also GCs, so we were self-performing contractors. And so understanding that concept came, and I was a safety manager, so understanding that as well, because you have to know every trade basically from a safety standpoint. And being the safety manager for a GC, you have to understand that aspect. So I would say in that sense, yeah. But knowing like literally how to get to deals and get things under contract, I had no clue.
Got it. So from the actual work standpoint, you were ahead of the game. But everything preceding the work was the learning curve.
Yes.
Whereas most people, they would learn how to get to the deal and then have the learning curve on the work point of view.
Exactly.
Okay. So then I want to switch gears real quick. Tell me about this. What is this? Her Plumbing. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I just started it.
Wait. So this is your company.
Yes.
Her Plumbing is...
Her plumbing company.
It's her plumbing company.
Her plumbing company.
I see what you did there. So before you know we got to dive into that, but before we do, I want to cut to our weekly wisdom with the lovely. Wait, what did I say?
Let's bring it back. I'm gonna give you one chance.
So before we get into her plumbing company, literally, let's jump into the weekly wisdom.
Whoa!
All right,
Y'all,
wait.
you watching this? Hashtag one more chance for Adonis, okay? Let's try it again. Back to the show.
Before we get to her plumbing company, literally, we're gonna jump into the weekly whiskey wisdom moment.
That's all right.
with Lauren.
He did it. We did it, Joe.
Hey everybody, it's Lauren and I'm here with this week's Whiskey Wisdom. My drink this week is one of my favorites. It's Crown Apple Straight. Some people say it's sweet, but it works for me. I'm sweet, it's sweet, we go together. Okay, and just like my drink this week, I'm gonna keep it straight with you guys. My Whiskey Wisdom of the week is: there is no I in real estate team. Oftentimes people, you know, when you think about wanting to get into real estate, you're always ready to jump in. What's the financing? What are the numbers? Blah, blah, blah. The last thing people are thinking about is who's going to rehab the property? What is my insurance company? Who is my whatever? All you think about are the finances. Always remember it takes a team. Make sure that you know that you are getting solid bids. You know, reach out to 3 or 4 different people, see what your options are, know what your pricing is. Make sure that they give you reasonable line item quotes. Don't just take one number and say, hey, this project costs $20,000 and they didn't tell you any reason behind it. So build a real estate team, know that you have good people behind you, and then you'll be successful. All right, thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Ooh, there's some shade in that whiskey wisdom.
wait, do tell.
You know, just people do that. That's all I'm gonna say. People do that.
So,
GCs do that sometimes, you know.
listen, this project, 100,000?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's a 1,200 square foot house that's worth 150. Like, relax.
Yeah.
So I do want to definitely reemphasize the team is most important. She said something that strikes a chord with me.
There's no I in team.
Actually, you know, so listen, when she said it, I was like,
Real
You have to
estate
spell it, clap it
team.
out. Yeah.
Now when she said that don't let someone tell you a price without understanding the price, right? And so one thing that's always struck me is that whenever a general contractor tells me something, general contractor or any trade service for that point, that gives me a number that I feel is really absorbent, before I get upset, I ask them, break it down for me, right? Because when I hear a number, something crazy, $40,000, I'm like, whatever you're about to tell me is crazy. And then when they break it down, I'm like, that makes sense. Queen, you and I had that a similar example. So
is that some more shade coming?
No. So let me tell you. So first of all, I make it a point that most people that I'm in a proximity with, if they're a specialist, they have a service to offer, I try to work with any and everyone that I see around that offers a service, because not only do me as a lender, as an investor, I want people to do business with me. I want to extend the same professional courtesy to do business with people.
To do what with people?
To do business with people that have a service to offer. So sure enough, Queen came out. Queen has done a bunch of projects for me as an investor, and then she came over to one of these large scope projects, dropped me with it was going to be like 30 racks. I was like, false. Woo. It will not. But when she broke it down.
A little more than that, but you know.
But yeah, so when she told me, I was like, blasphemy. This is crazy. When she broke it down, though, it made perfect sense. So I say that to say, like, if she would have told me it'd have been 30 and couldn't explain it to me to where I understood, I'd have been like, I don't want to do business with you, right? So it's important that not only are you working with a team, but a team that helps you understand how they get to the number. Is that a...
Yeah. That is one thing I'm learning or seeing when it comes to dealing with clients, is that a lot of tradespeople don't explain the reason why or what's going on or the process. Okay. And so that might be my unique selling point. Right. You know, taking that into account, because a lot of contractors don't know how to talk to people.
Correct.
Literally.
When she dropped that number, I was like, fuck out of here. 30 racks for plumbing. I was like, I could build a house for that.
Yeah.
But Queen said, "What you gonna pay it? Watch this."
She's like, all right.
This is why you can go to the city yourself, my friend. That's what you want, though. Right. That's what you want.
So then, how important on the scale of 1 to 10 is it? So how important is it to either explain how you got to the number first, or give the number and then explain why? What do you think is a better approach?
It just depends on the customer. It goes back to the client. What do they ask for first? Okay. Do they ask for the number? If they ask for the number, give them the number. If they ask for the reason why, most times, like, I kind of come in from a softer approach when it comes to presenting, you know, what a bid could be or how much it is to do certain things for a client. It just really depends. Some jobs are more, hey, this is an emergency, we need you to get this done right now, which you've sent me on. Just get it done, and you know, send the bill later, which that's understandable, you know. And then there's some jobs where it's like, no, we need to plan this out. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm needing. And this is the reason why I need it, because I'm not just going to throw in pipe for you to say, well, that's not what I wanted. You know, so we got to make sure we're all on the same page.
Right. I appreciate that, because I was getting a quote for an irrigation system. And I asked the young man, I said, you know, why is it this expensive? And his response was, because it is.
I don't believe you. I think you're making that up.
I'm not making it up. I promise you.
Customer service.
He said because it is.
As a sales agent, he said because it is.
He said because it is.
Tickets.
So, do you see an irrigation system at my house? You don't, do you? And he asked me why I'm not paying, because I ain't. Seriously, he said because it is.
Yeah, yeah. There's some guys I talk to on the plumbing side. They'll just be like, "How much money you got?" And it's like, man,
the nerds.
No. So, but now what happens is they dress it up differently. Well, what's your budget, right? They don't be like, "Yo, pull out your wallet, let's count them out." What they ask is, "What's your budget?" And let me ask you this, Queen. Like, is that a common practice in the trade world to ask someone what's their budget? So if they're willing to allocate more than what you're willing to charge, like, no, here we're gonna get to the nitty gritty. Like, we're gonna get to the gristle.
Queen said he telling my secrets.
It's not mine. It's not mine. I will say this. Some people, not me, try to do straightforward pricing. I have a price book that I just literally go off of.
Okay.
will go by the square footage of the house.
Excuse me?
Some, I mean, no shade.
Shade.
A little bit.
I don't want no trouble. But some will go by the square footage of the house, maybe the city or the neighborhood that you're in.
So I have a
Wow.
larger house.
By the neighborhood?
Sometimes. I
Wow.
imagine,
I have a larger.
Wow.
No. That is true. I'm doing a flip up in Preston Hollow,
Right.
real fancy part of town for those who are not in Texas. We called in the landscaper, $40 to cut the grass. He sends a bill for $100, and I was like, there must be a mistake because what we discussed. Oh well, your yard. I'm like, bro, my yard is the same size in this zip code as the one that's like 20 minutes away. It's the same size. Matter of fact, this one's a little smaller, and that yard is $35. Like
Wow.
Right.
the neighborhood, $2 million house versus a $40,000 house, and my price went up 2.5 times.
Wow.
Right.
So let me ask you this. How
Should I have curved him? This is what I want to know. Because I said don't pay. I was like, I'm not paying you.
I mean, maybe you could have paid them, but that'd be the last time you do business with them. I mean, I do that with clients. If they talk me down on my pricing, knowing that I have straightforward pricing, that's the last time they do business with me.
I'm going to ask you a tough question, right? So this scenario, hey, you come in, a tradesman gives a price. Tradesman, tradesperson.
Right? The whole time. The whole time. I'm like I'm not, like I don't have breasts. Right here. You know?
36, 24, 36.
Like it's not her plumbing company, you know? Just saying.
So
I'm gonna shut up.
So
All right. No
a
shade.
tradesperson comes in, gives a price. The investor or homeowner agrees to the price. And then when the job is done, the tradesperson says, well, I charged you more. We didn't talk about it. I didn't tell you, but I'm charging you more. Should the homeowner or the investor pay for that?
No, that's not what they agreed to.
So, okay, well, let me ask you this then. So how do they go about pricing it from like somewhere nice to in the hood?
Is it
Is
discretionary?
it, yeah, like
Is
what's
it
the
in the
difference?
book? Does the book say the nicer the neighborhood, there's
No.
this percent inflation rate?
No, the book that I use is just more so how much was the material, how many hours did it take you to do it?
Okay.
Regardless of whether you're in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood or a $50,000 neighborhood?
That's the book that I use. How much was the material?
You sure?
How
How
many
can
man
people get in
hours?
touch with you, Queen?
Right.
Because you are a rare breed.
You
like-
sure?
I know. I need to change. No, I'm just playing. Herplumbingco.com. That's my website.
Okay. So then, so you do believe that like everything happens right out of the textbook. You don't go in there and work discretionarily. You know, is anything shooting from the hip, or is like if it's in the book, that's what I'm rolling with. Like,
It depends on the client. It really depends on the client. If let's say, especially because I am an investor, and I understand it from an investor's point of view, I hate that I also kind of have a heart for investors because I am an investor. And I've been in situations where it's like, dog, we have this budget, you know, and now I'm coming in as a contractor like, yeah, but I got to pay my guys
Right.
regardless, and I got to pay for this material regardless, and
Right.
this gas and all this, you know, this overhead. It just really depends on the type of person I'm dealing with.
okay.
So with people that are very abrasive, I just don't deal with them. If you don't follow my core values, which is integrity, care, and professionalism, I don't
Love
work
it.
with you.
Okay.
Period. Whether you're a client, whether you're an investor, whether you're on my team.
Right.
Period.
Okay. So now, some of those things are subjective, though, right? I want to think about this.
Okay.
If you're dealing with $150,000 rehab, 10 personalities, there may not be a lot of room to be caring and sensitive when it comes to, listen, we have a budget that we're working with, a timeline I'm sticking to. If you run late, other people are going to charge me for not showing up, et cetera, et cetera. So abrasiveness, is it fair to say, the reason I'm advocating for this because I've been that guy multiple times. But in fairness, the abrasiveness comes with a balance of like management of multiple personalities. So is it safe? You know,
I'm saying that because at the end of the day, professionalism is still a core value as
Fair
well.
enough.
I love
So within that, professionalism falls into let's get it done on time.
was that one of the core values you mentioned though?
Yes, care, integrity, and professionalism.
But the producers like yes, and they're screaming it from the back.
Yes, you know, and just and again, you can communicate that like,
Okay.
hey, we are on a deadline, y'all are falling behind, and I'll admit, if we're falling behind, we're falling behind. You know, this is where we're going through. This is what we need from you, because
Right.
sometimes it'd be like, yeah, but the framing ain't done.
Shade.
Oh wow.
Listen,
See,
You know.
the shade don't mean to just going high.
so then tell us about your first deal, because now you're the one that's talking
Okay.
about what it's like dealing with investors as a tradesman. Tell us about you as an investor dealing with tradesmen. Is it like the same thing? Like, listen, bro, I'm a tradesman myself. You know what I mean? Like, let's will and deal. Listen,
No.
you flip me a little business. I flip.
I do not. I do not lead with the fact that I am that I have knowledge in the construction industry. I do
Oh,
not.
you're better than I am.
Okay.
I see how people deal with me first
Ooh.
as a female, because you know sometimes some people that you know have penises deal with you differently.
Can we say that?
Can you say penis on TV?
Okay, all right.
2021. Let her say what she wants to say.
Fair enough. All
They
right.
deal with you differently because they'll, you know, my first deal was a subject to deal. Actually, I did not rehab it or anything like that. But my first remodel deal was a disaster, honestly, because I partnered with someone who actually brought the deal, but he wanted to do the rehab. And so I was working a full-time job. I couldn't really manage the project at that time.
Right.
But every time things would get installed, things would get stolen. Every time things would get installed, things would
Oh,
get
wow.
stolen.
Was it an inside job or was it
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And so I literally, he didn't want to go through the city, but it was a house. My first deal, my first flip was like, it was a house that ended up being on the demolition list. So no matter what, I had to go through the city
right?
because it's already on the demolition list.
Right.
And I told the city what was going on. Every time this happens, stuff gets stolen. My partner wants to cut corners. What do? The city said, keep us involved. He'll go away. Eventually.
So you snitched. It's the underlying theme. I don't want to take away.
I mean,
And
it was
listen-
in my name. I owned it. It was my lender, so I had to protect
the liability.
everybody. I had all the
know she was on the
liability.
paper like, ooh,
I just while she was talking, I started laughing because I just get this image of somebody like, "Hey, what's up? You know she put that new toilet in today, right? Yeah, it's that new Kohler. Hey, you gotta get that, bro. All right, I'm gonna get it. She finna leave. All right, bro." That's how that went.
He was stealing material off my job that I paid for and paid him to do the work.
Oh wow.
And putting it on other rehabs he was doing.
yo, like, bro, I wrote my initials in this cabinet to commemorate my rental. Why
Right.
is it in your project? Like,
He said, no, that's my grandma.
my
initials.
grandma gave me that cabinet.
My grandma gave me that.
So, all right, so then that brings up a good point, right? So you work with partners that ripped you off. Have you been recruited by general contractors that have ripped you off or haven't paid you? You can say yes. I know the answer is yes.
Oh yeah, you do.
I do know
She
that.
was just determining whether she was gonna say names or
I
not.
know.
Listen, you don't got a name drop, but the answer is yes.
yeah.
She thought about it. She
Yes,
thought
I have.
Do
about
I
it.
really
You
want to
wanna-
throw them under the
she
bus?
I
said,
was like, man.
John, Jacob, Jerry, Fred.
If your name starts with a J, like, I don't rock with you.
You know what you did.
So I'm going to ask again.
Jesus.
Have you been recruited by a GC that hasn't paid you or ripped you off?
Yes.
You can say it. We'll bleep it out.
Listen, Ryan.
Yes. We take a drink.
Yeah, it's just let me take a drink, really.
So, is it often that you get recruited by general contractors, or do you mostly do standalone? Listen, you find me at work, but I don't really do the team thing. I mean, team outside of your like.
You know what? As of late, I have not really been dealing with GCs, honestly,
Okay.
because the times that I have been burnt has been by GCs.
Okay. Well, tell us about those.
they recruited me and they said they needed work. They had all this work. You know, everybody proceeds with all this work. You know, if you just help me with this one, I can go ahead and get you. This is what they say. I can go ahead and help you out with the other, 3 that I got lined up. Don't worry. Keep your price the same on that one. Your price will not change. Okay?
Wow.
All right.
If they do not pay, you can't file a lien on the property.
Do you normally file a lien on the property if they don't pay?
Yeah, I do.
She
Do
gotta
you
do
ever
what she
try
gotta
to
do.
reconcile? Do you ever try to reconcile with the owner or the investor?
Yeah, I'm definitely open for that because you have to give them a notice that you're going to file a lien. And if they are willing to talk and discuss and reconcile, then absolutely. I mean, who really wants to pay a dish? Because I have to, go through an attorney to file liens.
Right.
Because if I want to do it the right way, I'll say it like that. And that's going to cost. I'd rather just reconcile it. Let's get it squared away because I still got to pay my guys. I'm still out of pocket. And the material's still installed. And I'm not the kind of contractor that's going to pour cement down your drain because I don't even feel like driving out that way. I'm just saying.
You know
Right.
that
They
happened
do
to
that.
me.
They do that if you don't pay.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes.
So I paid the GC. The GC
Did
didn't
not
pay
pay
the
the plumber.
plumber, and the
And
plumber
then they came
pulled
after you.
They pulled concrete down the drain line. Sure did.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, I'm not that type, but I don't want to do that.
So
That just make me think of fighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so since to bring it back up to a more positive side, let's talk about your investing. I know you say that you were getting into the investment game. So tell us a little bit about that and what you got going on. Talk to us about it.
On the investment side, I do a number of things. I mean, I've done subject to deals, owner finance, wraps.
Let me stop you right there. For somebody that doesn't know, what is a subject to deal?
It's when you're buying a house subject to the existing, mortgage in place or the existing liens in place.
Nice.
So what is a subject to? It's a deal subject,
Subject
to
to.
the current scenario. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
That's messed up.
No, that was shade. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Subject to the liens, subject to the mortgage.
So like everything that's in place, my deal is based around everything as it exists now, with some back end follow on.
Potential, yeah, like taking over payments.
Okay, got it. All right.
Don't say that.
Oh, slap your mom?
No, like make payments on your behalf.
Making payments on your behalf.
Taking over payments insinuates that you're assuming the loan.
Yeah, I
True.
have assumed some loans.
Well, in that case, it's
Oh.
accurate.
Okay.
Touche, Ryan. Touche.
I'm just trying to make sure the viewers.
Look, she will
Yeah.
get angry comments. Listen, y'all can catch her on social media.
Right.
At,
Boom.
so then, what do you focus on more, being an investor or being a tradesperson?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, literally this month has been more so focusing on the plumbing.
I mean, in fairness, we're only 2 days into the month, though.
Okay,
Right.
February.
She said on the first, I was a plumber. On the second,
Yeah.
I was an investor.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Balance.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you balance the two? Because those are two big hats to wear.
I'm figuring that out right now as we speak. So my marketing from the investing side is pivoting a little bit. I will say that.
Okay.
Just so to where I'm just looking to get more qualified leads
Okay.
to come in when they do talk to me. I already know that they're reaching out because they want something. They want to sell their property. On the plumbing side, I am looking to more so hire out like a live answering call service because I'm answering a lot of calls for plumbing right now. So I'm looking for a dispatcher or
Got it.
call service
The
right now
growth,
for that.
love it.
So is your strategy flipping, rentals, subject twos, wholesaling? What is your strategy as an investor?
It just depends on the deal and how we can help the client. So not every deal's gonna fit what I'm looking for. I prefer owner finance. I love owner financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell everyone what owner financing is in the most PC way before you get fussed at by Ryan in the background.
Owner financing is basically selling the property to another person who may not or cannot sometimes or doesn't want to get a traditional loan through a bank.
Okay.
And so you basically finance it for them. They give you a significant down payment and then they make payments on it like you're the bank.
So if you're the bank, are you still the owner of the property?
No. So they get the deed. I get a deed of trust with a note attached to it, a promissory note.
Similar to like a regular bank, Wells Fargo, or any standard lender.
Yes. So and we follow the Dodd-Frank, make sure they go through the RMLO process so that they're qualified. yeah, and if there's a broken toilet, they don't have to call me because they own it.
Because they're the owner.
Yeah, that's their insurance, you know. And
Is that a strategy you would recommend over taking on rentals?
As of now, yes, I have a few rentals, and I hate being a landlord so far.
Why is that? I mean, you're a plumber. Most of the issues that tenants
I
is the
know.
plumber. Look,
That's the issue.
I call Queen like 3 times a week. Yeah, her toilet broke again. Like, you know, just go ahead and head over there when you can. Like, yeah, and there's one tenant, like, her goal is to put in as many plumbing requests a month as humanly possible. I don't know how she does it. So you want to transition away from being a landlord and doing mostly owner financing?
That's a good question.
For you to answer.
What's it?
I know. I know. I'm actually adding more to the rental side right now.
Okay, so you're doing both.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide whether one's owner finance or a rental?
Area.
Okay.
If it is
Right.
duplex or more like a multifamily, then I want to keep it as a rental.
Okay.
If it is just a single family home, I tend to want to go the owner finance route.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because you are talking a lot about these different strategies that a lot of people don't know about because they're not really common. So going from the spectrum of a plumber to knowing all these different strategies, how did you learn about it?
Good question. I got a mentor.
She logged on to myre360.com. Click on any of the different strategies you want to learn: wholesaling, rental properties, ultimately owner financing when we get there. And you can learn everything you need to know right from the comfort of your couch. You were saying?
It's a plug.
Shameless plug.
No problem. I got a mentor though.
Okay.
Absolutely. I still take on mentors, you know, people that are doing more than me
Okay.
or better than me in the business. You know, there's people that may not even consider themselves to be mentors. I consider y'all to be mentors for sure.
Okay.
Because y'all are, you know, from a rental standpoint, y'all got it. And I'm
Okay.
like, I gotta figure this out, you know. Because I'm doing something wrong. They keep calling me. I need property management. They get on my nerves. I only got 4 right now. They get on my nerves, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What about me? Am I my mentor?
If you want to be, you can mentor me.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, you know.
Did this become a dating show?
We'll be back.
So Queen, your mentor, so you were shadowing someone who put you on the game, and that's when you decided that, hey, this is what I do or don't want to do? Is it something like that?
Yeah. Basically, they kind of tell you the different strategies to, you know, go through as far as how to acquire property.
Okay.
I didn't know what marketing was. They tell you how to market. And then you just kind of see what it is that you like, you know. And I like the subject to owner finance, you know, side when I first started. You know, now I'm leaning towards I would rather just really buy it with my own lenders and then owner finance it.
So with your own lenders, there's this one company, L&H Capital, has the best rates that you can think of. 3.85% interest rates, 90% purchase price, all that good stuff. So feel free to log on to www.lnhcapital.com. You were saying, though?
I love how you just tried to whisper that.
And listen, if we can, just go ahead and slap that on the bottom of the screen, lnhcapital.com. But you were saying, so your mentors, so watching them do what they did, you saw some stuff that you liked, you saw some stuff that you didn't like.
Right.
Okay. But so one thing is ironic is I did not hear you mention once about like wholesaling or something really quick and transactional.
I wholesale. When I got into it,
It's not really
I fell into
convincing.
wholesaling. It wasn't my favorite thing. That's the thing. It wasn't my cup of tea because for me, if I want to hold on to it if I can.
Okay.
So my first wholesale deal, actually, it was a house in Oak Cliff. Was buying it. It was a pre-foreclosure. Buying it for $25,000, which was a great deal in Oak
Wait.
Cliff. This is 4 or 5 years ago.
That's still a
I'm
deal.
about to say,
Shit.
yeah.
Right,
that's
4 or 5
steep.
years
Right.
ago. And
Well, it depends.
it was an airship deal, and there had been 9 heirs on it. And one of the heirs was talking to another investor that was trying to go around me, basically.
Okay.
I already had it under Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well done. Well done.
Just saying. So in order to make the deal work before it got foreclosed on, we raised the price because he was like, I can do more, this and that. I already had a owner finance buyer in place.
Did you take money from them already, like a deposit?
No, I hadn't taken a deposit or anything like that.
But you knew you was gonna clean up.
Right, we already had it sold for a pretty good amount, and we had actually already closed with the title company. We didn't know that there were more heirs because the title company missed that. We'll just say it like that.
So let's go
This
back
sound
to
messy.
Let's go back to.
This is my first wholesale deal.
Oh look,
The
yeah, I'm like,
whiskey
this
wisdom
is
comes back
good.
The whiskey wisdom comes back around. A good title company would not have let you close on a deal without sourcing and finding and identifying the heirship, because all of that typically exists on paper somewhere, somehow.
So true.
Prime example of why a good team is important, because you probably would have lost a good sizable 15, 20K style down payment for an owner finance deal. Is that typical?
Yeah, he was gonna bring 10,000 down.
Still a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
And then he's still making payments to you
And he's still making
every
payments
month
to us.
that you're not responsible for any upkeep of the house.
Right.
So you would have lost all of that just because.
Ooh.
No, we lost it. I ended up wholesaling it to the guy that went behind us
wow.
in order to make the deal work before they lost it to the foreclosure. And we connected our owner finance buyer with him.
So you know why you're better than I am?
That was my first wholesale deal.
Really? You know why you're better than I am? I just slapped a lien on the property and been like,
And slap the hand on somebody's face.
Nah, see, that doesn't align with my core values. Care.
Not your core
see,
values.
here's the thing.
Care.
That's why you need partners that'll get in the trenches. Listen, I'd have been like, you're doing what? All right,
Hey.
lean.
Yeah, don't play with me.
So, how long ago was your first wholesale deal?
That was 5 years ago now.
Okay, so you did wholesale a couple times and then it was like, I'm out of wholesaling.
I mean, I know I wasn't out of it. It just really left a bad taste in my mouth.
I'm sure it did.
Pause. You know what I'm saying? Ryan, I get it now. I get it.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So now, right? So now with the strategy, with owner financing, is this restricted to a certain price point, or certain style of quality, a house, neighborhood, anything like that? Can you owner finance $50,000 or $500,000, or it doesn't work like that?
Yes, you can. You can.
But I
But
feel like there's a but.
there's a heavy but coming in.
The easier ones, I would say, the ones that can get sold pretty quickly are the ones that are under 200,000 ARV.
Okay.
I mean, the highest I've gone is like 300.
Okay.
But, with that, I was dealing with the self-employed type people, the pastors and things like that had that significant down payment
Okay.
that could put that down payment down.
Not the pastors. Lord.
Oh, I know, yeah. They called a lot. There's a few of them.
Where they get the down payment?
Listen, Sunday,
Pause, I'm
we had a
sorry.
good afternoon. Listen, so you want to buy a house? Well, it just so happened tithing was pretty good yesterday.
That's why I was like, oh Lord.
Oh, that sounded bad. I didn't mean it like that.
It's okay.
They were tithing their ass on today. Like, let's go ahead and buy us a house.
Oh no. I didn't talk. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh
Pastor
no.
Jamie, he says for the church. Listen, the church will be here.
He said this is the house of the Lord is everywhere.
Listen. Listen, I'm trying to build a house.
Oh yo, we being bad.
So
Oh, my
Pastor
gosh.
Jamie, I apologize.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I ain't
man.
tithing no more. That's
Right.
what you're doing with your
Oh,
money.
man.
but speaking of the people just doing bad stuff with it and everything, like, have you ever had to deal with a foreclosure or anything like
Yeah.
that? Oh, how did that go? I'm curious.
COVID happened. Now I'm sorry.
Oh wow. Oh.
Yeah, I had one. She had already fallen behind before COVID happened, actually. And she was already like 3 months behind. I was trying to work with her. Wanted her to go through the refinance because my goal is really depending on what they want to do. My owner finance buyers, hey, what do you want? What do you want to do in a year or two? you know, and they'll tell me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put you on with someone that can refinance you. If only I had known L&H Capital.
www.lnhcapital.com. That's Larry Nancy Henry Capital.com. You were saying?
Yeah, I would have just put them on with those guys, you know, and, you know, and connected them to have a refinance. But she never reached out to actually go through the refinance property process.
That brings a great question, because I hear a lot of owner finance, like people who do owner finance, are actually excited that if your borrower defaults, it's not like a tenant who doesn't pay rent. You take the house back and you can start all over. And it always confused me that people would be excited about that aspect of it.
I must say that's an interesting perspective.
I mean,
yeah.
there's a plus to it, but
Right.
don't know. Just like the banks don't really want to foreclose on you, they try to work. We don't really want you to have to go. I didn't want to go through it. I'm be honest.
Right.
I mean, like I said, hey, here's a realtor you can go through if you just want to sell it, because it's still a process that we got to go through. You know, you still gonna have to take into account. You have to fix up the house now once they do get out. Let's say if they get out and they upset and they pour, you know, concrete down your plumbing, you got to fix that. You know, we ended up coming out of pocket like $12,000 once we ended up having to foreclose.
Now, is that in legal fees or repairs or a combination of both?
Combination of both.
Wow.
So when you foreclosed, did you have to like go and buy your house back at the courthouse steps? Is it like that?
Yeah, I had an attorney representative to do that for me though.
See, that's what balling sounds like. I'd have
Right.
been right there like, nah, attorney, how much an hour? I got it.
Hello. I would have been right there at the court.
Did you have
I nigga in my house fighting.
I would just been bidding it up like, sir, your house is worth $100,000, $250.
Exactly. We were right there beside you.
Listen, the more I say it out loud, I'm not the right guy for owner finance.
Nah.
I start the bid at like, starting bid at $100,000, $250.
your
Right.
appointment of trustee took, you know, my appointment of trustee took care of that.
Okay, so is
And
that
it didn't sell at the courthouse steps.
so?
So I had to take it back. It became an REO.
Okay.
I had
You
to
just done been
fix
through
it
it.
back
Just,
up.
just
Yeah, it's
all
good, you know.
around.
fix it back up, and then we listed it.
But you know that builds character.
It does.
You know
it
what I
does.
mean?
Yeah.
And you still owner finance?
Yeah.
So she ain't
She don't
learned.
learn. She don't learn.
You ain't learned that.
So how do you insulate yourself from going through the foreclosure process now? You make them pay a couple months up front. Do you is there insulation from that, or it's like you just roll the dice the same way you would with like a renter?
I mean, if it was a renter, think about it. They don't really give you a down payment of at least 10%.
Fair enough.
A renter gives you a deposit, and it's like $1,000. If it's $1,000 rental, you get $2,000. But let's say they still do the same amount of damage
You know,
to the property, you still got to pay $10,000-$12,000 to get it ready.
you know how dismissive and condescending. Like she knows I own like 40
Oh, my
rental
bad.
properties. She's like, yeah, your little rentals, you know, $1,000 here, $500 there.
Right.
Listen, and then you still, damn.
Those people take deposits, small deposits.
You small fry.
It's not a big bag like mine, but it's a small
You
deposit.
know, the crazy thing, she was talking right at me too, and listen, your little $500, like, well, damn, like,
She's trying to say, how does it make you feel?
So it's like I still had something in reserves to fix up the property and get it ready, to get it retail ready.
Right.
I'm just saying.
boy, the shade was on like
Right.
10,000 on that one.
Jungle shade.
Jeez, my gosh. So, how many owner finance deals do you own now?
I always stick with 5. I'll get to 5 and then I sell a note. I need
Why
to stop
5?
doing that.
Well,
Why?
Oh, why 5?
I just from a Dodd-Frank dealer standpoint, because it's all under an entity, and I'm like,
You
man.
mentioned Dodd-Frank a couple times. What is Dodd-Frank? What does that mean?
Our show was like, who is this man?
Oh, so I'm not sure. Like,
Whose man is this?
Dodd-Frank just governing
Right,
your
he-
whole life.
Girl, they say he telling everybody what to do.
well, have y'all heard of rent-to-own and predatory lending?
I mean, we know. We're
Yeah.
asking you to explain
Oh,
to us.
okay.
No, I didn't know who he was.
Oh, okay. So
God,
basically,
Darren,
I'm
she
not
was
sure
about to explain it anyway. You could have just rolled
like
with it.
how it got into
Keeping it real.
effect, honestly. But more so, it's because at one point, you know, when Texas was like really on the lease option side or rent to own side, it was, you know, a big deal at that time because a lot of people, once they paid off their loans, they weren't getting the deed to the property. So there was a lot of, we call it, they called it predatory lending that was happening. And so Dodd-Frank came in and put into place as more so like a legislative for Texas, to where you can do lease options, but you only get 6 months to do a lease option. If it's anything over that, is, you know, we typically, that's why we sell things through owner finance, to where they get the deed to the property, make sure that they are compliant. But once you get to over a certain point of having so many properties under one entity, then you become a dealer. That's a different type of tax bracket that you fall into. So every time I get to 5, I'm like, I'm just gonna sell
Gotcha.
a note.
One thing about Dodd-Frank I also know was like heavy emphasis on was making sure that the buyer could actually qualify
Yes.
for the house. So it was just as much regulation
Yes.
on you about the way you manage it, but also protocol to make sure you weren't selling a house to someone that you knew couldn't afford it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So they were pretty much like the regulatory body to make sure that as an owner of finance, you weren't getting someone in just to take their money and boot them out in like 6 to 12 months, right?
And some
Gotcha.
people were doing that, you know, getting
Right.
them in to
But
boot them
messed
out.
up.
No, that's why Dodd-Frank came about, because what
A lot
happened
of
was
people.
like, I know you can't afford this $150,000 house, and I would take $10,000, $15,000 down, and then in 6 months, I'm giving you the boot. So Dodd-Frank was like, listen, bro.
Don't
like,
do that.
Dodd-Frank was like, listen, you got to go through some version of qualifying that their income can substantiate the amount of money that their payment that you're selling them to. And not as aggressive as an RMLO, but
I go through an RMLO though.
right. So, but some of the protocols where you have to go through like a residential loan officer. So it put a lot of structure and protection in place for the consumer to make sure people
Right.
like Queen wasn't, you know, taking a house 12 months later, selling it, and then being like, bro, I can't do nothing for
Hey.
you.
I go through the RMLO process.
Did you catch it? He said people like
I
Queen.
know.
So
It happened one time.
right. So Dad was saying, hey, God don't like ugly. And I'm going to embody that. So he helps people out. But I noticed you were saying, like, you know, when you sell the notes. So when you do sell the notes, who are buying them?
Before you answer that question, what does selling the note mean? What does that
Okay.
mean before we get into the technical part
Yeah.
of that?
So when you buy a house and you go through a bank, let's say your bank requires 20%. It's a $100,000 house. They want you to put $20,000 down. They create a note, and that note with the deed of trust is at $80,000. So you've created money. That's what I call it.
So a note meaning like if my loan is
$80,000.
for 80,000, that's considered a note. Okay, got it.
I sell those.
Well, she just went from 2 to 10. So I mean, there's not a lot of runway to that.
Yeah, like, I sell those.
I sell those.
Next question.
So let's circle back around, because there's a lot to unpack there. So if I sell the house to Darion I'm selling it for $100,000. He gives me $20,000 down. Now I'm going to be the bank for $80,000. So I'm the lien holder for $80,000. I now have a note for $80,000. Now, at some point, I'm going to sell that note to someone else.
Yes.
Is that about right? Okay.
Yes.
So now explain to us, what was your question? Who you sell the note to?
Yeah, who's buying
Okay,
them?
so who, yeah.
Oh, who buys them? Other investors that do note investing. There are investors that maybe they have a 401k or self-directed IRA that they want, and they'll use their IRA to purchase the notes through, just so they can have that residual income to build their IRA some more. Typically, it's literally through private investors.
So then they're buying these notes to have the residual income without the responsibility of fixing up the house.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
is that you hear a lot about that, but is that an easy market to break into? Is there like platforms or meetups or conventions where you go to find that out? Or you got to just be in the trenches to really be like in the who's who circles to know who that is?
Is this where I plug y'all in?
Yes.
My RE360.
Look.
I appreciate you taking that alley-oop.
Hey, disclaimer, we did not tell her to do that. Just say disclaimer.
So,
not tell
but
her.
after MyRE360, www.myre360.com, where you can create a free account and learn about notes. But where do you go after 360 to find places to sell those notes?
Honestly, mine is from relationships. I ask other investors, hey, I have a note that I'm looking to sell. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy notes? Your Quest IRA meetings, a lot of people are looking to buy notes there.
So Quest, that's a heavy plug. So if you want to sponsor, you can contact 360 support and we can talk about sponsorship because that was a heavy plug.
Oh, my bad.
It's good.
That was a heavy
It's good.
But so different organizations like a Quest, and Quest is like intermediaries for people who are moving their 401k
Yes.
to do stuff like buy notes.
Exactly.
Excuse me, self-directed.
Self-directed, yeah.
Well, they're just fuming in the back behind the scenes. So behind the cameras, there's a lot of people that do notes and no notes, and they're just course correcting everything about what we're saying right now.
Right.
So
I shouldn't have had that drink.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
So long term, what's the long term play for you? Because if you buying 5 at a time, that's I feel like a short runway. So what is
Shade.
Yeah, no, that plan is changing
Okay.
as we speak, honestly. More so is adding more rentals, but getting better at rentals.
Well, look who crawling back to the rental game that she so heavily shaded earlier this
No, you
episode.
need it for tax purposes. Man.
Ooh, it's
It
another
comes
gem.
through.
Wow.
Is it? Or is she hustling the government? All right, so you want to get back into rentals. Why not just ball out on seller financing? It sounds like the much safer, and much more lucrative path. Why not just get like 20 of those? Does
I'm gonna get that too.
Does Dodd not let you to have? Dodd doesn't let you have. Dodd, you a hater,
Dodd
bro.
Frank
Dodd, you a hater, right?
Don't do
You
that.
Dodd, you a hater, dude. So Dodd won't let
Shout
you
out to
have
Dodd.
20.
They will. It's just from an entity standpoint.
We say they. It's not one person.
Texas, them, those people.
Those
I don't want to say you people.
and them.
What
Dodd
do you
them.
mean,
You people.
So
Dodd
you're
them.
gonna get rentals and not seller finance.
No, again, it goes back to, is it a multifamily property? If it's a multifamily, I want to go ahead and keep it. Those are harder to owner finance anyways. If it's just a single family home, I want to sell it through owner financing if I can.
Okay.
Got it. I
And
like
so when you get these rentals, who is gonna do your property management?
That's what I'm working on
I'm just
right
asking.
now.
You need somebody.
Well,
I
you
do
know
need somebody.
Ooh. you know.
what's happening right now.
Mind your business.
So
Mind your
So
business.
that's actually dope because I know that a good property manager can be found at www.myre360.com. No, I'm not joking, but they can. But
Or one might be right under your nose. You know, you never
you're a property
know.
manager now?
Yeah. You didn't know that? You didn't know that?
No. And we work together like every day.
And I work for you.
I
So guess what?
promise you're not a property.
If he do it, I do it. Cut my check.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
As you were saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm looking for him for sure because
Okay.
I gotta figure this out.
So if you want to return the interview, you'll talk to us first.
will. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Sponsored interview.
So you need a property manager. So you're gonna get a property manager to do the owner finance. Wait, so no, you can't get a property manager for the owner financing. You have to get
For her
like
rentals.
Servicing company.
a servicing company, right? So that's different from a property management
Right.
company.
Yeah.
What's a servicing company? What do they do?
They service the loans.
If you can get any more technical than that, like
Service loans.
Where
what
the
does a
payments
servicing
go.
company do? Service. Yes, we got that.
Where the
Tell us what
payments
they
go.
do.
Instead of people instead of my owner finance buyers paying me directly and me having to give them mortgage statements and, you know, their 1098s at the end of the year, I go through a loan servicing company. They pay the loan servicing company. They make sure to maintain basically the books.
Okay.
And give them their mortgage statements, and they make payments through them or through their portal. Makes it a lot easier for me because all I'm worried about is, did they make their payment today? Do we need to proceed, you know,
Got it.
with a notice of default? Yeah.
Okay.
So does the servicing company pay like the taxes and insurance, or is that something you still have to do?
You choose. Actually, you choose. Do you want it to be escrowed or do you not want it to be escrowed? If you do choose to escrow it with the servicing company, they will take care of that. If you don't want it to be escrowed, then you take care of that. I like for it to be escrowed. They take care of everything.
Right. Yeah, make that.
Is working with a servicing company expensive? Is it similar to like a property management company where you're paying 7, 8, 10%?
They don't go off of well, the one I use.
Don't plug them.
They don't.
If you want to get your servicing company plugged, you holla at us. Register on
I feel it coming. Don't you say
She was
it.
about to.
Don't you say it. Don't you say it.
It's a flat fee. It's
Okay.
a flat fee depending on how many loans they're servicing.
Okay, got it. So
That's all right.
she was about to. She was ready. So yeah, Jerry from relax, bro. Like, let Jerry call us. Talk about, listen, Jerry from Servicing, if you want to talk about sponsorship, you can holler at us, support at myr360.com, register.
Right.
We got you.
But hey, so speaking of plug, we want to give you the ultimate opportunity, one more opportunity to plug yourself. So for the people that are watching this, how do they contact you?
They can contact me. Well, I really don't want them to have my personal number.
Oh, you know.
Well, don't give me your phone number. Like, my
okay.
gosh, this is nothing. It's 2021. Like,
Give them an email,
Okay.
social
Instagram.
media, like,
I got
her
it.
plumbing code on
Twitter.
Yeah, her
Like,
plumbing at her plumbing on Instagram, and House Buying Queen
Okay.
at House Buying Queen on Instagram. I'm Queena Johnson on Facebook, and on Facebook, her plumbing on Facebook.
Okay.
There's a lot of other avenues you could have went.
I know.
So, so I think it's time for us to just ask a question about, like, you know, what people be thinking. So
I want to know.
you ever been riding down the road looking at investment properties, perusing your social media, and find something real estate related where you just can't help and ask yourself, like, what in the hell is going on here? So we've all been there, and that's why with 360 TV, we've created Whose Mans Is This? So let's take a look at our first candidate for tonight's 360Y. So
I bet you they sold that too.
So
This house, I can just imagine on the MLS, it just says property for a flying car owner only. Your car don't fly, you're not getting in this garage.
yo, so I feel like you've seen, we've all seen Batman. You know how every time Batman comes into the cave, he's always boosting and jumping, doing the jumps and everything. I feel like this is a house that, you know, Batman was like, listen, I need to make my parking an adventure. So ipso facto, I jump ship.
Yeah.
Literally.
He said, I want to move to a neighborhood, you know, be around more people, but I'm taking my car. I'm not selling it. So they was like, okay.
Yo, when the
we
city
got
tells you need a retaining wall, and you're like, all right.
Right here?
So this is what happens when you run out of budget and you know you're supposed to make an inclined driveway. So listen, I know that concrete budget is that's a budget buster. Like, listen, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
So, and first of all, what's happening? What are those black things? Is that
Storm drains.
Her plumbing.
Just saying.
She know.
To the plumber that has built her garage to be her workshop, to the tenant who needed a 4x4 just to get into their parking space, all I need to know is, whose mans is this? It never gets old.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What is happening here?
Something fell at one point. And they said, well, we can't let that
Happen
happen
again.
Yo, sir, it's going to be expensive to bust in that brick.
He said, what you got to do?
True.
They really put it through
An engineer put it right
the
there.
window.
I bet you.
mean, right through the window.
And they just went off the measurement.
I actually thought that.
But the math says, sorry, your pinky ring.
Listen, you want to.
Shout out to the engineers.
You want an indoor-outdoor experience? Listen, like.
But it looked like they sealed it.
They did. It's waterproofed and everything.
Oh yeah, they said, ain't no water gonna get in here.
So I don't know if I'm impressed or upset. Like
Right.
if I walk in, I gotta be like, I'm not even mad. Like I get it.
It looked like it's at a hotel too.
Oh, yeah.
You see why I would think that?
Yeah,
Why?
you
Because of the
can't open
curtains.
a window.
Now this is what happens when you own or finance and your tenants stop making, or their people stop making a mortgage payment. You're like, all right, I'll get you out.
Ooh, the shade.
Hey,
I get you out.
this ain't a bedroom anymore.
To the owner finance, to the owner financier who didn't want to spend the money to bust up the brick because what are they called?
That's what you get.
Take that again.
Wait, what are the people is it the mortgagee or the mortgager?
Oh, it's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't even
Right,
know.
it's not so crazy.
The people. Them
To
people.
the owner financier who didn't want to bust open the brick because you're not getting your mortgage payments. To the code compliance who says, you know what, live la vida loca, bro, because they're not paying you anyway. All I need to know is, whose man's is this? Electric.
I saw that at one of your places.
Listen, this drink
At one of your rentals.
Hey, listen,
Giannis.
this drink be setting in like this is for the electrician apprentice, right? Listen, when you 1 week on the job and you just will not be bested by not having a double switch plate.
I just feel like whoever did this, they was like, hey, we ran out, so you want
Yeah.
2 lights or no? Like,
Listen, bro, I can leave.
yeah, I can leave.
I can leave. So when you get your electrician from Craigslist,
That's
so,
exactly what happened. You know about that, don't you?
Oh, wow. That was
You know about that one.
$1.47 is a lot of money.
Listen, I mean, the plates that aren't even the switch plate covers aren't even the same color. One's that egg yellow, one's the off white. At least you're gonna half-ass it. At least be consistent with it. My gosh.
I bet you it worked, though.
I bet you it does.
Mm.
I bet you it does.
To the electrician assistant who said, "I bet you it worked though." To the Craigslist electrician associate who said, "I will not be bested because I don't have 2 switch plates." All I need to know is, whose man's is this? So,
Oh wow.
sometimes you just can't help but
Oh, my
ask.
cheeks
like,
hurt.
Right.
yo, like, where you get this shit from? So, Queen, again, man, like, we could do this for another 2 or 3 hours, but I know
No, we
Darian.
No, we cannot.
Well, first of all, I didn't even know you had a pinky ring till today, so that's I
know
did.
I had.
I promise I didn't know you had a pinky
You
ring.
saw the
I've
pinky.
never seen you with a
He
pinky
saw the
ring.
pinky ring.
You sound like a pimp right now.
I might be. You don't know. You don't know, baby. I might.
360 TV was not aware of this, if that was the case.
I'm just, yeah. No, do not condone that. Do not condone that.
So, Queen, just do us a favor. Again, drop your social media handles so people know how to get in touch with you.
I am Queena Johnson on Facebook, House Buying Queen on Instagram, Her Plumbing on Instagram, Her Plumbing on Facebook as well.
So y'all make sure, especially, so Queen, are you only in Dallas or you have a bunch of offices throughout like the state or the country?
No, Dallas, just let's keep it.
Let's keep it Dallas.
Keep it local.
If you're in the Dallas area, I got to tell you, I've been working with Queen for about 2-3 months now. Whether it's big job, small job, she's out there and she's been like just killing it, making sure everything is done very professionally. So if you're in the Dallas area, I would highly insist you reach out to her, let her take on your plumbing jobs, whether it be 200-300 jobs or $40,000 jobs like she didn't beat me in the head with on this last one, and everything in between. Queen is definitely the one to get it taken care of. So I definitely recommend y'all reach out. Queen, you do great work. Love
you.
everything you're doing. Yo, more power to you. A woman in a predominantly male industry, black woman in a predominantly male dominated industry. So, you know, double kudos to you for killing it. Just launching your own Her Plumbing Co. So, you know, shout outs on shout outs for everything that you're doing. We appreciate you. We love what you're doing, and definitely want to make sure that you always are welcome back to come back and join us. Tell us how you're doing on 360 TV. So we appreciate you having you. So with that said, I've been your host, and again, my trusty co-host, Mr. I'm Still Flyer Than You on your flyest day, even when I'm dusty.
As always.
Darion Coleman. And thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.